So this is Ryan. So the good things that you got going on are you have a pretty good body position. Your hips are a little low in the water. The reason you want your hips and legs higher in the water is for the streamline effect, but it's pretty good. So that's just something that'll improve over time. And you got a pretty good extension. That being said, there's room for improvement with the extension, continued flexibility training, thinking about reaching as far forward as possible every time you take a stroke. Head position is good. Your head is not bobbing around when you swim, which a lot of people do. And your breathing looks comfortable. With the extension forward, there's a bit of a crossover. It looks like you're trying to extend right along the center line of your body when you're reaching forward. You don't really need to do that. You can extend forward and slightly outside of your body. What the little bit of crossover does is it'll have you kind of winding through the water slightly, if you can notice that. So it's just a little bit of an extra twist with that reaching forward along the center line. It looks like it's more pronounced on your left, especially when you turn to breathe on your right side. Your arm recovery looks good. The thing to think about with the arm recovery is that you want to have your arm as relaxed as possible while you bring the arm back around. That eases tension on your shoulder. So you can see it was just a little bit more so when you're turning to breathe on one side or the other is when you had the crossover. But basically the solution to that is you can just reach directly forward and slightly outside your body. So what's going on here with the underwater stroke? It's a combination of, remember me talking about the elbow slip and a straight arm pull. You're sort of in between the two. You're pulling straight down and back at the beginning, and then the elbow slips a little bit, about a third to a halfway through the stroke. So what happens when that elbow leads the stroke back is you give up leverage on the water. You reduce the tension that your hand and forearm have created, and your arm slips through the water, quote unquote. So what you want to do ideally is keep your hand and forearm angled down vertical relative to the bottom of the pool, parallel to the back of the pool. So that front view just shows you what sort of line you're pulling, and that's fine. My suggestion there is just where your hand starts to pull. So when you reach forward and just off center, not right directly on the center line, off center. This is catch-up drill. I was having you focus on reaching as far forward as possible here. That looked like you were more relaxed on the recovery. You get a good extension going on here. So from when you're training for half Ironman, one of the things you need to worry about with swimming is that you want your body to stay as relaxed as possible so that you can focus your energy A, on the swim, and B, on the rest of the event. So if you have a relaxed but powerful stroke, that is the ideal way to swim for open water or triathlon. So a relaxed recovery and then a strong underwater pull. So the one-arm drill, this is a great drill to do for technique and for improving your force or power in the water. You know, the other thing you can do with one arm is you can watch your stroke. So you could actually watch your arm and watch the elbow, see what your hand and forearm are doing. The high elbow catch or early vertical forearm is, for most people, going to be the best way to swim.
Trying to bring in extension.
So here I think we just brought it all together. That's a good extension. So you have a pretty strong pull. If you can finesse the technique, it's going to be that much better. That's right. I think you did this 100 on 110 or 111. So a good swim set for you to do as a challenge set would be try to do 8 100s, 10 100s, 8 100s or 10 100s. Leaving on 120 or 125 as your send-off interval, and if you're able to hold 110 to 115, that will improve your muscular endurance or your ability to hold a close to threshold level effort when you're swimming, and then you can lengthen that over time, basically 10 to 15 seconds over your 90% effort. So if you do 100 on 110 at 90%, then you should be leaving on a 120 send-off. So, some freeze frames here. You could see the extension. So at this point you would want to be starting with the high elbow catch, so that elbow would be angling up, hand and forearm would be angling down. So this is what I was talking about with the straight arm pull. So you're pulling straight back through here, and then notice a break now in the elbow. So the elbow led the stroke through that portion there. So it was straight arm at the beginning and then an elbow leading in the second half. With your right arm extending forward. So that's a good rotation and extension there. And the same thing now, you would want to begin in, that elbow should be angling up, hand and forearm angling down. And so this is the straight arm pulling. So straight arm still, as viewed from the side. And then a little bit of the elbow leaning back through here. So that was more straight arm, less elbow on that right arm. So some things to work on. Hope that helps.